Push everything else was aside. All right, so you should have your notes Thursday. Tomorrow's the graphing quiz. This is the graph. I'm going to ask you to do an exercise task. One of the price controls, perfect competition in the long run, which Justin just put on the board. A monopoly making money. And then either the shifters of timer or ratnet. So I'm not going to say timer or ratnet. I'll say shifters of supply or demand. Okay. And that's it. And I'm not going to ask you to do anything with them. Like I'm not going to say, you know, the government put an excise tax. So I'm just going to say excise tax, put those there. The graphs are on the Calvert Hall page. All right. So any questions on the quiz tomorrow? Okay. My only advice is graph them till you're perfect. Don't just look at them. I mean, when you look at them, and then there's a quiz on chapter 15. I'll put the practice quiz up later today. I'll review at 7:30 on Sunday and Monday at 7:45 in room 108. Yes, sir.
So the quiz isn't tomorrow. It's a week from tomorrow?
No, the graphing quiz is tomorrow.
Oh.
Tomorrow's Friday, right? Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the review for chapter 15.
That's Monday. Yeah, I'm sorry. All right, but all the graphs then are in the unit 3 on the topics page. But the graphs are there. All right, and then again, no redos on the graphing quiz because I'm giving you the questions and the answer key. All right, today we'll talk of monopolies, efficient or inefficient, consumer and producer surplus, now how to identify natural monopolies and price discrimination. All right, if you got out your notes from yesterday, I'm just going to finish it up. We did draw a monopoly losing money, right? Is that true?
Yes.
All right. So here's where if we use that graph, and I got it losing money because it makes the everything else. Did we go over why they're inefficient?
Yes.
Okay, so we got this. All right, so then we're here, right? All right, so the same rules are going to apply here. If I was doing consumer surplus above the price, below demand, is consumer surplus. And as I might have said yesterday, this is totally efficient. No deadweight loss. This is perfect competition in the long run. You have a totally efficient market, consumer and producer surplus. The same rules are going to apply when I turn this graph into a monopoly graph. Okay, so here I am. All right, now I left the perfect competition up. Remember, if you're going to turn a monopoly, if they ask you about a monopoly in perfect competition, it's just supply and demand. So the supply is MC, the demand is D. There it is. All right. Now, they look to ask, like, this perfect competition, is its price lower or higher than a monopoly? You just look, price is lower, and you produce more in perfect competition. But anyhow, here's your monopoly price. So consumer surplus aid industry beware. Well, above the price and below what? Yeah, so above the price and below demand. It's the same rule. Okay, so there is consumer surplus. And then producer surplus. Did you have a question?
Yeah,
go.
I thought MR equals demand. So why do you have
no, MR equals demand in perfect competition. In a monopoly, it's dark. They become rude. Okay. Good asking. Did someone else have that hand up? I thought.
So monopolies are usually going to be created every cost, right?
Oh, monopolies are always inefficient.
Yeah, and like, isn't it like every extra unit they produce, they bring the price down on the product? So
yeah, every unit you have to bring. Not every. To gain more units, yes, they go lower price. You're right. Okay. Now, where would producer surplus be here? Yeah. Okay. Same rule, right? below the price above supply. And then this white triangle here, which I'll shade in, is deadweight loss. All right, why? Because in perfect competition, you were producing this quantity, but as price went up, you drove some people out of the market. And that causes deadweight loss. All right. Now, I probably have 10 slides that will get this point done in one slide. All right. If I took the MR down here again, that point is highest total revenue. Just a quick review of it. Does anyone remember graphically where allocative efficiency is?
There you go. The highest total revenue. Like where unit elastic.
Yeah, that's unit elastic, but it's not allocative efficiency. But John, that is good to remind us that that is unit elastic. Peter.
Isn't it when MC equals D?
Yeah. So this is allocative efficiency where MC equals D. Dan, are we producing there? Are we producing where MC equals D? No. Okay. We're producing over here. So we're not allocative efficient. We're not allocatively efficient. Who's asking? I'm sorry. All right. So allocative efficiency is where MC crosses demand. If this was a quantity that we were producing, we'd be allocatively efficient. But we're producing over here, right? Where MC equals MR.
So that the MR and the MC will be under that allocated efficiency.
Like, no. I mean, to be allocatively efficient, demand would have to equal MR. Okay, and it doesn't. Mr. Owens?
So because we're producing at where MC meets MR, we are profit maximizing?
Yeah, we are profit maximizing, you're correct, which isn't allocatively efficient. And the reason also is because we're a monopoly and we raise the price, that deters us from being allocatively efficient. Go, Lorenzo.
So are there any monopolies that are allocated efficient?
Price discriminating monopolies, which we'll get to. But on a regular monopoly, the answer is no.
What is productive?
That is a great question. Let's throw in an ATC curve because I didn't have one. Okay. Anyone remember productive efficiency? Justin?
Is it where ATC is at its minimum?
Yeah. And how do I see that graphically, Justin?
Just where it's at its minimum, its lowest. So, on this one, it looks like it's.
Well, I might not have drawn it perfectly, but do you remember like how I know where ATC is at its minimum graphically? Yeah, where MC crosses ATC. All right. So that is the lowest. All right. And the reason for that is when MC is above ATC, ATC has to go up. Give me 1 second, I'll answer your question. Now, are we producing at productive efficiency? No, right? We're producing over here. Productive efficiency would be here. So we're not allocative or productively efficient. Mr. Owens, whenever you're ready, you can ask.
Oh, no, I figured it out. It was productively efficient when MC crosses ATC.
Yes. Okay. All right. So monopolies are not allocatively or productively efficient. Questions? slides just to. Okay. All right. Here is allocative efficiency. Anyone quickly remind me, where do I find allocative efficiency on my graph? MC equals D. We're not producing there, so we're not allocatively efficient. Okay? So the price is greater, monopoly is inefficient. All right. Go.
How do we know when they're making money when the ATC is above the price?
All right. Now, you're on a test, right? And you blank. How would I find out? If I go down here, my cost is $6 a unit, right?
Yeah.
And my revenue is $7 a unit. So am I making money?
Yeah.
So you can just look at it when ATC is below. Okay? But right. But if you forget it, then just do the exercise and go total revenue 7 times 6, cost is 6 times 6. Okay? So to me, the more you could use the graph to memorize less, the better you're going to be. Okay? All right. All right. Now a natural monopoly. So what is a natural monopoly? It's when one firm could really produce at the lowest cost. So when one firm produces at the lowest cost. And usually for natural monopoly, you have to have high fixed costs to get in. Like think cable TV. Like to run all those cables to all the houses and throughout is really expensive. All right. So if you have one and they're getting all the customers, the average total cost is low. If you have companies splitting that up, the costs are phenomenally high. Now, how do I know it's a natural monopoly graphically? ATC, which is the blue curve, is downward sloping. Again, why? Because they start out with extremely high average fixed cost. If ATC is downward sloping, MC has to be below it, right? Because the marginal cost has to be dragging the ATC down. And then it would be the same. MR equals MC. You take it up to demand to get your price. Okay? So natural monopoly, one firm. You can think BG&E. In the old days, cable TV. Those are natural monopolies. Okay?
So you're saying it would be cheaper if, like, for a cable company, if there were multiple, like, large cable companies?
No, if there's one. Now, I think what they were able to do is get the cost down, and that's why you have some competition.
Because it's expensive to produce, like, the cables.
Right. Okay. All right, so this is your natural monopoly. And I'm going to probably come back to doing a natural monopoly in a second. Right. All right. Do we have government regulations on this note sheet? There is? Okay. All right. So why would government regulate? One, to try to keep prices low. All right, because monopolies at least get, ask for higher prices, like for electric, water, things like that. You want to try to keep prices low. Second, they're trying to make monopolies more efficient. Like ironic of government trying to make anything efficient, but there they are. Government regulates prices. They don't regulate profits. Okay? So government's going to regulate prices. And I'm going to show you, I think in a second, a graph that will give you the 3 alternative prices that they have. I'm gonna like the everyday person wants us to tax monopolies, so they'll make less money. When we get there, I'm going to show you why taxing doesn't work. Okay. All right. So, all right. Let's get to the what? Let me just check through and see is there a graph. See is there a natural. Okay. Let's get to this natural monopoly, and I'll show it to you. All right. So, government's trying to regulate. There is 3 alternatives. What do you think the monopoly wants? The monopoly wants the profit maximizing price. All right, where MC equals MR. They want the profit maximum. All right. What do you think government's going to want?
The efficiency maximizer.
Yeah, they're going to want socially optimal or allocatively efficient. Now, can anyone see a problem if we charge for socially optimal? Well, no, the red line is the marginal cost. The ATC is higher, so what does that mean? They're losing money. So what's going to happen if the monopoly loses money in the long run? They're going to exit. So if PGE exits, what's going to happen?
No electricity.
We have no electricity. So the government isn't going to let PGE exit, right? So they probably give them a subsidy. Who ends up paying for subsidies? Taxpayers. All right. So might not be. And then this is the third one, which is fair return. Or zero economic profit. Okay. Now that's usually what they compromise at, the fair return price. Because even though you're making zero economic profit, what can these utilities? Yeah, they're making tons of accounting profit.
And wait, at where?
Where ATC crosses demand. And this would be socially optimal. Dan, did you have a question?
Yeah, so firm wants to profit maximize.
Right, because it's the highest price and the most profit.
And the government wants to get socially optimal.
And they usually can negotiate to the fair return.
Do monopolies automatically go to the unregulated price?
Oh yeah, unless regulated.
They're nice guys.
Monopolies. They're trying to maximize profit. All right. So, what do you need to know? You need to know where the profit maximizer is, which that is where fair return is, and then where socially optimal or allocatively efficient. So, I think of it like a maximizer. I think of it like as MFers. Maximize the fair return, socially optimal, MFers. Okay. Just remember, where ATC crosses demand, that's zero economic profit, fair return, and you can just look at the graph and you know where socially optimal is because it's MC crossing demand. Okay. Any questions on that? All right, I'm going to backtrack into price discrimination for a second. Oh, by the way, the price discrimination graph is in the package of graphs you need to know, but you will not be quizzed on. Okay? Somehow it just fell in there. All right. So here's what price discrimination is. It tries to charge you what you're willing to pay. So, in a way, college universities do this, right? Like, if the tuition's $70,000, so you fill out FAFSA and you can afford to pay $50,000, you pay $50,000 and you get a $20,000, subsidy or scholarship. If you can afford to pay it all, you pay it all. Now, they don't do perfect price discrimination, but they kind of have a little price discrimination there. Here are what you need. You kind of need monopoly power. You need to be able to segregate the market. And this is why perfect price discrimination is hard to do. It's hard to perfectly. And the consumers cannot resell. So Andrew can't get into a school and say, get a $35,000 scholarship and sell it to Miles. Which, by the way, that would be like a pretty cool thing to be able to do. So that's what will allow colleges, in a way, to price discriminate. Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Is there going to be consumer surplus in price discrimination? Got one hit. Well, it was up and down. Let's see if we get two. We get another hand. Is there going to be? All right, I'll let you start first.
I say no.
You say no.
No.
Okay. Why not?
Because if you're paying what you're willing to pay, you're not having any excess.
Right. You're willing to pay 35, you're paying 35. Miles is willing to pay 60, he's paying 60. Dan is crazy, he's willing to pay 70, he pays 70. So there is no consumer surplus. All right? Okay. Now, so if there's no consumer surplus, marginal revenues can equal demand. So what I'm going to do for price discrimination, I'm taking this marginal revenue curve and I'm folding it up into the demand curve. And that's what it looks like.
Mr. Dorff again?
Classic.
Yes.
Classic Mr. Dorff.
Now, notice what happens to this green thing is the profit box. Notice that profits increase and quantity increases. Okay? No dead weight loss. You're producing where MC crosses demand. Okay. All right, we will revisit price discrimination again tomorrow because I kind of rushed through it. Any ending questions on anything?
We have the quiz one?
Huh?
We have the quiz one?
You can draw 4 graphs. It's going to take you 10 minutes.
Oh. Might take me 5.
All right. Have a great day.
Daniel. We finished. Are we? Hey, Dan, you going to Pennsylvania?